Hi guys, Katie here. I am a criminal defense attorney and I wanted to take a little time to talk to you about something that I get tons of questions on every single day. And I know it sounds like common sense, but I'm going to do you a favor and give you a little more explanation about why you should never make any statements to the police if you are questioned and accused of a crime. So that's pretty common sense. I know that we've all heard that, lawyer up, don't say anything, invoke your rights. That's all true, but the reason for it is a lot different than what you might think. So every day I get phone calls from people who are being investigated for potential criminal allegations. And it's a supernatural instinct when you're questioned about something to want to defend yourself. So a lot of people, especially when we're talking about a sexual assault case, for instance, where there is one version of a story, and then of course the other person has another version, okay? So if you're called in and questioned about something like that, a lot of people, very understandably, want to offer their side of the story, okay? They think, I can clear this up. This is just totally ridiculous. I shouldn't let that person's story be the only story that the police know. So why shouldn't I talk? Shouldn't I just say something? And the answer is still no. You cannot say anything. You have to invoke your right to remain silent. And the reason for that is a couple of different things. Number one, this is kind of obvious, but when you're read your rights, what does the police say? They say anything you say can and will be used against you. Against you. They're not saying for you, not to say, oh, you know what? Thank you for clarifying everything. We're just going to drop this now. It all makes sense what you said. It's totally over. Because the truth is that even if you told the police everything that made logical sense and it really would have cleared you if they believe you, they don't have that authority for the most part. So if you tell them something that makes sense, the best position you put yourself in is that there's two versions of the story that both are plausible, and that is enough in many cases to get pushed to a trial, okay? So if you say something like, yes, we had sex, but it was consensual, well, okay, maybe that's true, and that's not a crime if it's true, but if the other person says, we had sex and I said no, not consensual, then the question is really a question of fact, and that's something that a jury should consider. At least that's what a prosecutor will think. So best case scenario, you're just providing further facts for a jury to consider, okay? That's number one. So you're not helping yourself, even if you think this will be fine, I'll just get this done with. That's not true. Number two, as you probably know, the police can lie to you, okay? Interrogators are allowed to deceive subjects in order to try to get a confession. So the interrogators can tell you things like, we already know you did it, your friends told us that you confessed. If you tell us the truth, it will be easier for you. You'll have easier consequences. Having integrity is very important, and that will be something that the prosecutors look upon favorably. All of that is just BS. That's not true. If you confess to them, they're going to be happy, but they're not going to help you out, nor do they really want to. Their job, even though, their job is to collect facts. They're neutral fact finders, theoretically. But in reality, as we all probably know, they are working very closely with the prosecution. So nothing that they tell you can be taken at face value. Even if you take a polygraph exam, they could tell you failed it and that you need to fess up, and it'll just get worse and worse for you if you keep digging yourself a hole. That might all be BS altogether. So don't put yourself in that position and don't make any statements to them. And then another piece of why you should never speak to the police or make any statements when you're accused of a crime is because you're working at a disadvantage. They're not going to give you any access to their evidence, to their other witness statements, to anything they have. And they're going to ask you to talk blindly about some experience that happened. You may be inadvertently confirming some of the facts in the other people's statements that you didn't even mean to confirm, but suddenly that person looks more credible. So if for instance, and I'm talking about sexual assault because I deal with that a lot, but it could be any case, but in a sexual assault case, a person could come and make an allegation and say, I met up with this person at Chili's, we had dinner, then we went to a bar, we kept drinking, and then we decided to go back to his house, and then we had sex and I told him to stop and he wouldn't stop. Okay, that could be a story. In your own statement, you could go in and say, I met this person at Chili's, we had some drinks, we then went to a bar, we had a few more drinks, and then I invited her back to my house, and then we had sex, and it was all consensual. Okay, so you're giving a version of events that is legal, lawful, nothing wrong with it if it's true, but you've also confirmed everything else that she said, really basically bolstering her credibility. So now the police know, okay, well, this person is not a total liar, so their allegation is actually given more credence than, hey, this person says I raped them. I was in Africa for a whole month on the time that she said that happened. It's impossible, right? So that kind of brings me to my last point, is that there are very few circumstances where it is helpful at the onset of an investigation to make a statement, but don't make any statements without talking to a lawyer first. And if for some reason you have an alibi or something very, very, very specific, there are ways to get that information in front of the investigators without also inadvertently harming yourself and your case. So no matter what the police say, no matter how badly you want to defend yourself, which I totally understand is a natural instinct, you can't do that. You have to tell them, I don't want to make any statements. I want to talk to a lawyer. And then on that piece, I know a lot of people always tell me, I'm worried about lawyering up. I don't want to look guilty. Well, I can understand that. It seems like maybe you're hiding something, but that's not the case. And the bottom line is that the investigators aren't making any determinations anyway. Who cares if they think you're guilty? It's not their decision ultimately. So do yourself a big favor. Tell them you're not going to make any statements. Don't equivocate about it. Don't tell them, I don't think I should. Maybe I should talk to a lawyer, because then they'll keep hammering you and badgering you, which are allowed to. If you unequivocally invoke your rights, you tell them, no, I'm not going to talk to you. I want to speak to a lawyer. Nothing else, then they will have to let you go do that. Okay. So for the sake of all of the defense counsel out there, I'm asking you, and really for yourself, of course, don't talk to the police if you are questioned about a crime, whether you're guilty, whether you're not guilty, whether it's a complete misunderstanding. It doesn't matter. You will get things cleared up much easier if you talk to a lawyer first, and if you don't make any statements to law enforcement under any circumstances. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. I hope that gives people a little more explanation instead of just giving you a blanket rule saying, lawyer up, don't talk to the police. There's lots of reasons for it. It's because it weakens your case. It's not going to help you. It can only hurt you. And then on that topic, if you did make a confession or give a statement to law enforcement, you can still be helped by an attorney. You know, it sometimes makes things more difficult, but it can be dealt with. And it should be something that you tell your lawyer immediately so that you don't go making additional statements and kind of compounding the problem. So stay safe out there, lawyer up. Don't let the police bully you into some false confession or any confession whatsoever. You're smarter than that. Talk to you guys later.